online on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Just search for KSJE. We hope you'll subscribe and stay tuned to all the different things we'll be doing on those platforms. But we have Dr. Pendergrass here from San Juan College talking a little bit about some of the accomplishments here at San Juan College.
Yes, so our faculty and staff have been on this journey, especially with developmental education, to try and get students out for sooner so they can take college level courses. And this last year our English and reading faculty really tried to make our what we call co-requisites as default. And if you're wondering what a co-requisite is we place students directly into the college level course with support. And another thing they did is combined our reading and writing courses, so they just infused reading instruction into the English classes so students don't have to take both reading and writing, and it reduced the number of credit hours, the maximum that a student would have to take, from 22 to 9. So, you know, at Convocation we learned that there's a lot of research out there with the whole state of California, North Carolina, and others, that we really need to look at how we can place more and more students straight into college level with support, so that they can finish sooner and be more successful.
And that's, again, kind of a newer concept, I think, in higher education, is to really focus on helping these students. 10
years since they were in high school or longer, that's more predictable than those other standalone tests. So it's really interesting research.
Indeed. Even with that passage of time, it still holds up.
Yes, it does.
Interesting, interesting. Well, some of the things that you shared that I want to also point out and ask you about is working with high schools, because I know we have a lot of dual credit classes here at San Juan College. We have the very famous already San Juan College High School, which is setting academic records across the state, I believe, and so you must be proud about that.
Yes, I mean, everyone needs to enjoy that. Our San Juan College High School, which will be mentioned in a later slide, that of teachers and his team are doing an excellent job. And this is a partnership with all 4 school districts, so they all deserve the recognition for this accomplishment. We probably have one, I would say probably the only one in the nation that works with 4 different school districts. So what we did is we started an early college high school, and if you're welcome, anyone in the county is welcome to apply, and we use a lottery system to select them. So this last year they took their standardized test, the PARC,
right, and
we were #1 public high school in math and English in the entire state. So again, this is a second year we're the #1 public.
And again, congratulations to the staff and the students at San Juan College High School.
Yeah, they're doing a great job, and they definitely represent our community.
Very good.
Well,
indeed, indeed. I want to go back to some of the other things that we were just a minute ago, but talking accomplishments here at San Juan College that you shared with Convocation, and some of those other things included, again, working with other high schools, not just the one here on campus.
Oh, yes, definitely. And we meet monthly with all of the superintendents, and there's also a separate meeting where we do pathways work, and we're going to call those career pathways. And Aztec really stepped up to the plate first, and they had an instrumentation and controls career academy there in Aztec last year that was very successful, that's being expanded, if I'm correct, Farmington. And we also had a health professions academy, career pathway academy, in partnership with Central Consolidated School District and our West Campus employees. So what this is, you know, early college high schools have about a 95% graduation rate, and these students are afforded opportunities to take college level courses and high school, and get credit for the classes, the high class that get both college credit. And we offer dual credit in partnership with our school districts, but we really want them to have those pathway opportunities early in their high school career. So we're trying to expand that to all of our high schools.
Very good. My guest this morning, San Juan College President Dr. Toni Pendergrass, is here. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, more on some of the accomplishments here at San Juan Juan College this past year and looking ahead, which I think includes maybe some student housing. We'll talk about that in just a moment. KSJE.
In China, your credit could depend on how often you visit your parents. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace Tech. I'm Amy Choi in for Molly Wood.
Marketplace Tech is supported by GoCD, the software build and release tool from ThoughtWorks. GoCD supports modern infrastructure and helps enterprise businesses get software delivered faster, safer, and more reliably. GoCD.org. And by Carbonite, offering data protection solutions for businesses, including automatic backup for servers, endpoint protection, high availability and disaster recovery, and data migration. Learn more at Carbonite.com.
Few Chinese citizens have credit cards or any sort of credit history, but the country has started incorporating more credit into its economy and culture. And the government is working on a way to measure credit worthiness for both businesses and individuals. Its plan, a social credit score. The idea, first introduced in 2013, is akin to the American FICO system in that it's a financial record of whether you paid your bills or traffic tickets, but the Chinese government is also tracking social behaviors and figuring out how to incorporate those into your score. It's all connected to a citizen's ID number, which is required to do nearly everything in China. I got an update on China's plan with Marketplace China correspondent Jennifer Pak in Shanghai. She says the process for calculating.
For example, a company can pay their taxes on time, or in one city in eastern Jiangsu province, shop owners can boost their credit ranking if they volunteer for community activities. And for individuals, it's tough to say. At the moment, they haven't really fleshed that out yet.
How are the social behaviors being recorded and reported? What is some of the technology behind that?
China's government already monitors its citizens, right? There are lots of things that you can't do without giving your ID number, which is why it's very easy to impose an array of penalties. One of the easiest ways to get bad credit is if you have a court case, you lose, and the judge orders you to pay a fine, and you repeatedly disobeyed this order, so then you're put on what the local media call the list of deadbeats. And in some severe cases, the courts can then swap your ringback tone, so that every time somebody calls you, instead of hearing a ringtone, they're going to hear a message that says, you have reached somebody who has refused to pay a court-ordered debt. And there are a number of ways in which authorities have tried to publicly shame defaulters.
So once all that data is centralized, how will the government be calculating the scores?
It's anyone's guess at this point in time. There are very few details, and I have to say it's very difficult because initially it started out with these blacklists, right? But then certain cities, they're piloting their own systems. In Shanghai, for example, if you jaywalk, if you refuse to visit your elderly parents, if you don't sort out your garbage into the appropriate bins, or you're dodging train fares, those can be recorded on your social credit file. We spoke to a professor who advises the government on setting up this database. She is pushing for just a digital archive, a collection, a centralized system documenting all of your good and bad behaviors, and then letting companies or whoever needs to look at that file to do their own assessment. Which factors will they weigh more or less? Eventually, they're going to come to a score, but at the moment, there really isn't.
That was Marketplace China correspondent Jennifer Pak. The Chinese government hopes to have a national social credit framework in place by 2020. The scheme has raised alarm bells among human rights activists, but Pak says everyday citizens don't seem overly concerned. I'm Amy Choi, and that's Marketplace Tech. This is APM.
This program is supported by MyLabs, patient-ordered testing. San Juan Regional Medical Center is expanding its services to offer low-cost blood screenings year-round. Now offering walk-in convenience to get the blood tests you want when you want them. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, is available at the hospital's laboratory and the Outpatient Diagnostic Center on 30th Street in Farmington. With nearly 20 tests available, there's an option for everyone. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, a wellness service of San Juan Regional Medical Center. throughout the Four Corners. Today's high in Farmington should be about 91 degrees, 63 overnight, chance of a shower or a thunderstorm beginning on Tuesday. A little bit cooler weather, too, beginning Tuesday, 84 for a high, 80 on Wednesday, and 83 on Thursday. My guest on the radio this morning is San Juan College President Dr. Toni Hopper Pendergrass, and again, we are unveiling our brand new KSJE Visual Studio A here at San Juan College. So if you are near your computer, your smartphone, and you can get to our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, you can watch the interview here this morning, part of our new investment in technology here at KSJE. Listening to the Scott Micklin Morning Program, and if you're watching the Scott Micklin Morning Program on Facebook and on YouTube, welcome to our viewers. This is a new day here at KSJE when we're on the radio and on screen. So we welcome you, and we also welcome my guest here in the studio, San Juan College President, Dr. Toni Hopper Pendergrass, who is here. And this is, again, tradition because it's the first day of the fall semester here at San Juan College, so things are filled in the classrooms and the park.
Exciting day.
It is an exciting day, and I know I always gripe about the parking in the parking lots, but that's a good problem to have because that means there's a lot of students that are coming here for their education.
We'll build more parking lots if we have to.
That's easy, right? That's an easy problem to have, I suppose. That's true. But Dr. Pendergrass, it's great to have you here, and thank you for helping us unveil our new technology here at KSJE. I'm proud to say that the station will offer video streaming of our interview programs, and we appreciate the support we get from you and from the Board of Trustees and the community, like the college gets a lot of support, to be able to offer these new things to the community.
You do a great job, Scott, and I love your new space.
Thank you. Well, we love it too, and we're glad to have it here and to be able to make it available to the community, and we hope we'll be able to share a lot of great, important information here in the days and weeks and years to come. So,
Great.
Thank you. We've been talking with the community at last week's convocation about some of the accomplishments here at San Juan College, and before the break I mentioned student housing, and this is something I know the college has been looking at and studying for a long time, and it's an expensive proposition to add a housing component to the campus here at San Juan College, but that's exactly what we're talking about.
Yes, definitely. We're very fortunate that the board approved a public part and Stanford Tech architects excited that we will have housing in place in the fall of 2020. We conducted a study with the students, and a large portion of them indicated they would live in student housing if it were available. In fact, the third-party organization Skyan that worked with us said it was the highest response rate they had ever received, and they've been doing this type of work for a long time. So we're really excited about the opportunity. We think that we will have approximately, what they've recommended is about 376 beds in our new student housing facility.
And so it's not quite dormitories that maybe some folks would remember. Is it more like apartments, or is it a little combination? I think there's a lot of flexibility.
It's more like apartments.
Right?
That's really the national trend. So students will have options if they want to share a bedroom or have their own bedroom. So they will, and that will of course influence cost.
Right.
But we'll have some 2 bedrooms with 2 people in each, or 4 bedrooms with 1 person in each, and they will all have kitchens in them.
Interesting. Well, it's very exciting, and again, it's the newest trend that you're seeing, and again, the studies that have been done indicate a high demand for this type of thing here at San Juan College, here in San Juan County especially.
And we want it to be just as nice as all of our other facilities here on campus, so it will be beautiful.
Excellent. And again, the target date is not too far away, 2020.
Yeah, just right around the corner.
So that will be a new addition to the campus here at San Juan College.
Yes, and we plan to utilize the revenue that we generate from the rents from the students to pay for the facility.
Interesting. Very exciting. Well, that college, but some of the things that we talking about and that you talked about at the convocation including some of the other things that the college does for the community, some of the maker spaces and science, technology, engineering, and math, which is kind of right where we are on campus here in the middle of all that for the last 18 months or so.
Yes, we're really excited about the new Maker Space, and we were able to get some private donations or investments from our donors from both Raytheon and Marion Oil and Gas, and then some support through 3 grants to open up a maker space. And we will have a large area dedicated to this in our Quality Center for Business. So if someone's interested in building a prototype of something or marketing their product, they can come here to the maker space and utilize some really high-tech equipment to get what they need to done. We'll have a clean space and more of a dirty space. In the clean space, they can use any of the 3D printers to make what they need, or there'll be an area for framing, jewelry making, all of those types of things. And then in the more dirty space, they will be able to use all sorts of big machining equipment or woodworking equipment to work on their projects or products.
And this is part of the college's commitment, if you will, to economic development in the region, to providing this and partnering with others in the community. I know the college is a big supporter of Four Corners Economic Development. They held their Futures Forum on campus a few months ago, and planning for another one, I think, to bring in the regional economic development entities to try to work together for some future goals?
Yes, Melissa Meehan's really headed that up here at the college and has been a major influence in the Four Corners Futures Forum. We co-hosted an event here at the college last November. We plan to host the next one where we bring in all 4 states and we talk about economic revitalization and economic diversification. So that is really moving forward. We've done it in partnership with Arizona Public Service, with Arvin Trujillo and Joanne Bryant, Four Corners Economic Development, as you mentioned, and then the Northwest New Mexico Council of Governments. So it's great. And then what's important that I mentioned at convocation is that we can also, when we apply for grants or opportunities legislatively at the federal level, we have all the congressional representation from all 4 states to help us with these initiatives.
That really make a big difference in just having 2 senators promoting it, but having 8.
Right, exactly.
Very big difference. And the last point on the graphic that we're showing to our viewers this morning would be, in addition to the other information that you've mentioned, is certificates and Native American graduates. Let me ask you a little bit about that.
Sure. We've been able to, in the last few years, get some pretty high rankings, and we're first in the nation for granting certificates of 1 year or less to Native American students, and number 2 for granting associate degrees. And there's 1,100 community colleges in the nation. And number 3 is actually Tulsa. And Tulsa has about 400,000 people just in their city. So we think this is a big accomplishment for us to have that many graduates. Number 1 in the nation for associate degrees is C&M, and they're a great partner, and we're really proud that number 1 and number 2 is from New Mexico.
That's wonderful. Well, again, congratulations on a lot of hard work by a lot of folks here at San Juan College to make that happen.
Yes, we have great people here at the college.
And that is something that the college continues to track, correct? Is some of the things about how things are working, how students are succeeding, and those types of things, correct?
Yes, we really look at data longitudinally. That's really important to all of us, that we know if what we're doing is making a difference. So as part of our strategic plan, we have our goals and annual objectives, and then we measure them against our performance indicators at the end of the year or throughout the year. So one of the things that we're really proud of is our graduation rates. So in community colleges, they look at first-time, full-time students, and that's about 1,000 of our students that we track from when they enter the college until 3 years later to see if they've graduated. And a lot of our students in community colleges are part-time. So we've been able to increase that graduation rate 7% in the last year. And we're very optimistic based on the number of summer applications that it'll increase another 4 to 5%. So that's very high among our peers. Even nationally, we're ranking very high with our graduation rates for that cohort of first-time, full-time students.
And that's a big push, I know, even in high schools around the state, right, is to keep kids in school, to get them to graduate, to keep them from dropping out or going somewhere else.
Yes, and we've actually doubled our graduation rate in the last 6 years.
Gotcha.
More than doubled.
Scott Micklin Morning Program on KSJE, and you're also watching the Scott Micklin Morning Program. For Pendergrass, and again, Dr. Pendergrass, thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you, Scott.
We appreciate you helping us unveil our brand new space here in our technology. We can stream video of all of our interviews at 8 o'clock every weekday morning, so we hope folks will enjoy that that new addition to KSJE. We've been talking a bit about the accomplishments here at San Juan College that you shared at Convocation just last week, and of course today is the first day of classes for the fall semester. One of those accomplishments that I know you've been tracking, and it looks really cool, graduates that we have from San Juan College. The number is pretty impressive.
Yes. Actually, in 2010, President Obama challenged all colleges and universities in the nation to increase their number of graduates by 2020 by 50%. And so we decided to assume that challenge, I think 12, and started really our number of, and we've plotted them all on a chart each year. But if you just doing simple math, over 10 years, 50% increase, you need to increase it 5% per year to hit that goal. And we've actually had an annual increase that's very impressive of 12% per year on average. And so I'm really pleased with everything that our faculty and staff have done to try and help students achieve their goal here in our community.
Right. And so if you're looking at the screen on our video streaming this morning, you can see this very impressive bar graph showing that the college has pretty much exceeded the target every year since this started.
Yes, definitely we have, by quite a large margin.
Right. And so we've already basically gotten to the 2020 and then some rate already.
Yes,
we did that.
I mean, we could check with Ron, but I'm pretty sure our goal was to have 5,454 graduates by 2020. I think we've already had that amount of graduates, and we still have a couple years of reporting left.
Right. It sure looks like that, at least from the graph that we're seeing. But it looks it's very impressive. And again, that is all part of the whole concept at San Juan College, to keep studying and watching these graduation rates and helping students to succeed in whatever area of study that they are here to study and to complete, hopefully, right?
Yes, definitely.
That's the idea. In the minutes that we have remaining this morning, Dr. Pendergrass, give me some of your thoughts on the state legislature. I mean, we've gone through some tough budget times. The state seems to be in much better physical shape than it was just a few years ago, and so I haven't heard of any concerns about the legislative session coming up early next year. But I don't know if you've heard anything about higher education, or what are your thoughts for the future of higher education in New Mexico and state funding and things like that?
Well, I attended a retreat recently, a couple weeks ago in Albuquerque, with all the independent community college presidents, and we had the opportunity to visit with Secretary Dameron, the Secretary for Higher Education in the state, and David Abbey, who's responsible for the Legislative Finance Committee. And he's very optimistic about the revenues. They're actually quite large, and it's basically due to a lot of the activity in the southeastern part of the state. Those revenues, I've heard them, as high as $600 million. But we'll just have to see. I know there's a large lawsuit. It was in process for about 31 years, and it was settled, and they're a little bit nervous about the ramifications of how that might affect our budget. So we'll just have to watch that.
Got you. That was more K-12 funding?
Yes.
From that lawsuit, as I recall.
Yes.
So, but it would be interesting, because I think the lawsuit said that education was underfunded in New Mexico. That was
exactly
the results of of it. So, but we will see. And as you mentioned, and it really has to be because of the oil and gas activity that the revenues are doing so well for our state.
Yes, that's correct.
Here at San Juan College, it seems like the college has taken steps to try to be a bit more reactive to potential shortfalls. And I know the power plant issue is something the college is watching because that would impact the budgets here at San Juan College in the future if the power plant were to close, the PNM plant.
Yes, and as our listeners know, that's our #1 taxpayer in our county, PNM. And if it were to close in 2022, the college would lose about $2 million annually. We also have a large training contract. PNM's been a good partner in the past, and we've provided training for, it's about a $300,000 contract to train their employees. And they've also provided a lot of money through our foundation for scholarships for students, primarily in those chapter house areas that surround San Juan Generating Station, and that was to the tune of about $116,000 annually. So we're very concerned about the future of the San Juan Generating Station and hope that we can work something out.
Good.
As a community.
Right. I think there's a lot of folks that are hoping for that as well. And then again, that goes back to the partnerships with San Juan Economic Development and some of the state lawmakers and things like that. I think that's what we will probably see at the legislative session is some type of bill moving forward to maybe try to help whatever it may be. Exactly.
And our local legislators have been working hard, as you mentioned, as well as Four Corners Economic Development and a lot of others.
Very good. Well, Dr. Pendergrass, again, thank you for being here. Thanks for helping us unveil our new studio and our new technology here, and we look forward to a great semester.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott.
Thank you very much. Dr. Toni Pendergrass, the president of San Juan College, my guest here on KSJE. Back with more in just a moment. 8:56 on KSJE. You're listening to the Scott Micklin Morning Program and our new visual radio studio here at Studio A at San Juan College. So if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, good morning from Studio A. It's time for our Monday Reboot segment on KSJE. That's when I get to talk technology with Lewis Campbell, who is with Synergy Computer Systems. And Lewis is joining us on the phone this morning. Lewis, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being with us, and appreciate your patience as we work through some of our technical challenges this morning, but so far, so good, I guess. But technology is the topic, right? So what are we talking about this morning? What have you been noticing the last week or so?
Well, I found a fun article. So everybody knows that women's jeans don't really have adequate pockets for smartphones, right? Women struggle with smartphones in their jeans. Well, somebody actually did a study on this.
All right, I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah, so now there's a study that was published in it was published in a journal somewhere, but it was republished in The Verge, and it finds that women's jeans are on average 48% shorter and 6.5% narrower than those of men, and so only 40% of women's front pockets can completely fit an iPhone 10.
Aha.
The number goes down for Samsung Galaxy or Google Pixel, 20% and 5% respectively, but the report doesn't specify which model. But so now we have proof that women's jeans suck for smartphones, basically.
I guess we do. All right.
This is like really important news now. We've got to, we got to take up the charge. Part of the Me Too movement. Women's jeans. We need to fight for women's jeans to have adequate room for smartphones or change smartphones.
I guess so, and I think I've heard from my women friends that they would really like to have pockets in more of their clothing, not just jeans. I think pockets are one thing that men seem to have a monopoly on in clothing, anyway.
And most people I know, my wife and others, keep their smartphones in like a holder and put it in their purse. But still, I think that's fair. And,
right.
And that probably explains, to me, I don't know. This is just anecdotal evidence. Maybe it's not real, but to me it seems like my wife dials me more than most people do. So I don't know if that's related to the jeans thing or not, but who knows?
Interesting. All right. Let me ask you real briefly, Lewis Campbell, unless there was something else that you wanted to talk about this morning, but we only have about a couple minutes left.
Yeah, the EU, they have accepted a resolution abolishing planned obsolescence, and we haven't really talked about planned obsolescence a lot.
Right.
I think we probably should start talking about this. Planned obsolescence is when manufacturers kind of design their products to go bad after a short period of time so they can sell you new products. And there's been a movement, for a while for legislatures around the world to try and legislate out of this, force manufacturers to stop doing this. It's not big here in the United States. It's not very popular to legislate things, but in the EU, they've been really fighting it. So the European Parliament accepted a resolution to lengthen consumer goods and software's longevity. So they're trying to do something about this, to force manufacturers to not design product, obsolescence into products. So it's something we can look at. We don't have to talk about it in detail today, but it's something we can look at in the future to kind of keep our eyes on.
Very true. Now, is this some type of an attempt, too, to get rid of our kind of disposable society where we tend to, throw things away instead of getting them repaired? Is that part of this, or is that a different conversation?
Well, it kind of. It ties into the right to repair legislation movement that's going around the world. So a lot of these, like Apple specifically, designs products so you can't, really repair them. You just got to return them to Apple. And this is tied into this movement to, stop that, to make it so when you buy an Apple product or some other product, you can actually, take it apart and fix components like you used to do with old-style PCs, and you can do these days still with PCs if you can buy a new card or whatever.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's tied in with that.
Very interesting. All right. Well, Lewis, thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a great week, everybody.
All right, you too. That's Lewis Campbell from Synergy Computer Systems, my guest here on KSJE Farmington, talking about technology. Have a great Monday, everybody. We'll be back live on the radio and on the internet tomorrow at 8 a.m.